All right, joining me now is Miranda Devine, the New York Post columnist, and Oscar Odom, retired NYPD detective and former first deputy sheriff commissioner. Thank you both for joining us. Miranda, I want to go to you first. Is this a story that shows the power that law enforcement has when they act in unison to say, you know what, we don't have someone who's going to support us, or we assume support us in management, so we're all going to walk out and leave the community high and dry?
Look, I guess that's the positive way of looking at it, but really what I see is an overall picture nationally of law enforcement in decline, under siege. It's all very predictable after the aftermath of the George Floyd riots and the defund police campaign that left-wing Democrats were pursuing. And now what we see is crime rising everywhere, demoralised police, leaving in droves, retiring early. And in this one town, good on them for standing up for themselves, but does it have to become so extreme that a city actually puts in place someone who is hostile to the police, so much so that they feel they have to resign en masse? The only people that are winning here are the criminals.
Yeah, that's a really good point. You know, Oscar, to you, you know law enforcement really well. And so to Miranda's point, are cops under siege right now since George Floyd, number one? And number two, Oscar, what happens to this community that now has no law enforcement to protect it?
Yes, the issue becomes is that a lot of times people want to be experts and they want to talk down to the police, so to speak, as opposed to talking to them. This is supposed to be a partnership. We take a job that we put our lives on the line and that we run towards danger. We don't run away from dangers. So people should be able to sit down and talk. And if need be, a mediator to have someone there who has expertise in both law enforcement and talking to the issues that are taking place. But you must be able to sit down at the table and be evidence-based and data-driven when you talk to police officers and to have a plan and not down to them or try to destroy them, but be able to work for them and make sure that the community is safe. And that's key. And a lot of times, because of these different incidents, they forget about the good things that we do and that the majority of police officers do the right thing every day.
Listen, I was a prosecutor for 9 years. Really good people on the police force doing good things for their community. Well, Joe Biden wants to get in the action. He wants to spend money to revitalize police departments across the country. But the Wall Street Journal is criticizing the president in a new op-ed for his inability to solve the raging crime crisis and describing his new policy plan as damage control. So, Miranda, I look at this and say, you know, spending some money, all you had to do, Joe, was respect the police officers. You know, are you actually calling out, Joe, woke DAs? Are you going after, you know, those who fund woke DAs? That would seem to make some progress, but spending taxpayer money doesn't seem to actually fit the bill.
No, look, it's just performative, and it's driven by polls, which coming up to the midterms, the Democrats are panicking because they're seeing that law and order issues are top of mind for voters, and the disintegrating law and order situation in Democrat cities is really damaging to people like Joe Biden and his cohorts, and it's their fault. Joe Biden played footsies with the defund police crowd. He went from having a career where he made his name as supposedly a champion of police. He even had the Fraternal Order of Police supporting him, police unions supporting him, and yet he was instrumental in dismantling our law and order situation. Now it's too little too late, and again, as you say, the cowardice of Democrats in charge at being reluctant to call out their own brethren in the progressive side of the party who are driving this deliberately. And as you say, it's the Soros-funded progressive DAs who refuse to lock up criminals, who handcuff police, who just create this situation of a revolving door where the police arrest a criminal and the next day they're out on bail or no bail. Today we have a story in New York where we've got a video of cops being beaten up by a scofflaw inside the subways. They can't deal with him forcefully because their hands have been tied. And so this person puts a cop in a chokehold and gets out of jail immediately. How can the cops tolerate that kind of environment.
And to your point, they can't do their job. And it seems like every single day we see new video that comes out that I think shocks all of us. Here's a clip of a video that was released in New York. It shows a speeding car hitting a man, and then people get out of the car not to help the victim, but they get out to rob him instead. And so, Oscar, again, we do have problems with support for law enforcement. We do have woke DAs that aren't doing their job prosecuting crimes. But I look at this is not the problem of a woke prosecutor. I think this goes back to another fundamental sickness that's happening in our culture. And whether it's broken homes, fatherless homes, whether it's not having faith in our communities any longer that don't teach morals and values, we have a rot to the core because this is happening whether you have cops or prosecutors or not.
Most definitely, and there's a lot of social issues that take place when we look at this. But police officers are doing their job, what they're called to do. They're called to come out there to protect life and property. And when we protect life and property, you know, the job is done there. However, in the criminal justice system, because of woke DAs and different things of that nature, that's what happens when people are let back out. See, what they don't understand is if you really understand criminal justice, you're really doing a disservice to someone who gets arrested and you let them just right back out. What you should be doing is that, of course, if you should be held accountable for crimes that you commit. Also, if you're going to bring somebody in, you should provide some sort of treatment. You don't just let somebody out with a gun and then just put them back out on the street so that you can say that you let them go and it's okay and you don't monitor them. Then they go out and they wind up killing someone else or injuring someone else, and that's not the police fault. That is the system fault because the police did their job by making arrests, and you want them to be everything. You want them to be the counselor. You want them to be the mommy. You want them to be the dad. You want the police to do everything. They have a job. They run to danger to protect life and property. And when they do it, everybody else needs to play their part. If you get the arrest, then the next thing you know, you should be providing some sort of treatment and or some sort of punishment when people do wrong things. If you don't, you see what happens right now.
Everything devolves. It's not good. All right, Miranda and Oscar, thank you for joining me. Appreciate it.